To begin this session, I'd like to invite you to settle in comfortably and close your eyes. Perhaps you could turn your attention to this particular moment of the year. You know, this moment when autumn begins to settle in gently, and with the fall beginning to settle in, relaxation also arrives naturally. And I don't know if you've noticed, but as you allow yourself to sink into this moment, one part of you can focus on my voice, while another part might already be wandering toward that inner autumn, that place where thoughts slow down, like leaves that take their time to fall. And it's funny how the colors begin to change, from green to gold to deep reds. And while these colors transform outside, something can also transform inside you, toward more gentleness, toward more serenity, releasing all that pressure, all that overwhelm that sometimes accumulate with new beginnings. Perhaps you can feel this light freshness of September that soothes, this different light and this particular quality of air that invites you to breathe more deeply. And as you breathe, you might notice how each exhale carries away a little more of that back to school stress or back to work stress, that performance anxiety, those expectations that may feel so heavy sometimes. And I don't know if you know this, but autumn is a bit like nature, deciding to slow down, to better prepare what's coming, as if it were taking time to sort, to keep what's essential and let go of what's no longer necessary. And maybe your unconscious mind is already beginning this process, distinguishing between what serves you and what simply creates unnecessary pressure. You know, a hypnosis session is a bit like autumn cleaning, where you can sort through old habits, organize what deserves to be kept, those inner resources, that confidence, that natural rhythm, and gently get rid of might clutter, all that self-doubt, comparison, perfectionism, to make room for something new, more serene, more authentic. And as someone once told me, the trees don't struggle to let their leaves fall. And I was wondering if you could find that same natural ease, that same trust in the process of change, that same wisdom of letting go when it's time. And with all these changes gently beginning to settle in, your relaxation can also deepen, like the roots of trees that draw their strength from the earth to better nourish the branches and prepare for renewal. And now that you've found this particular quality of relaxation, this autumnal serenity, we'll be able to explore together some stories that will help you discover new resources for this season that can be different, more serene than others. And speaking of natural rhythm, I'd like to tell you the story of this woman who had, how to say this, the faculty of being late to almost every appointment. And when I say faculty, it might seem paradoxical, because lateness is generally perceived as a flaw, while the word faculty is rather felt as an aptitude or a capacity, or even perhaps a gift. And yet, I'm talking about a real talent, because you see, this woman knew how to glean a few minutes here and there to finalize a project close to her heart, or to write down a thought she didn't want to forget, as if these moments, stolen from time, were precious pearls she strung on a necklace of her day. It's like how time can sometimes expand or contract, depending on what you put into it. You can live an eternity in 5 minutes, or see an hour fly by like a breath. And this woman had discovered something that those rushing around had missed: the art of inhabiting time, rather than being enslaved by it. And this woman had a real wisdom about time. She had understood that sometimes it was better to honor what naturally emerges rather than force an artificial pace. So, when inspiration called her, when an idea whispered in her ear, when her intuition suggested a different approach, she granted herself the right to welcome it, even if it meant arriving a few minutes later. One part of her knew, while another part could worry, that these moments of authenticity were worth a few minutes of waiting for others. Because she had noticed something particular. When she finally arrived, she wasn't embarrassed at all, but sincerely thanked people for their patience. And in this thank you, there was something so warm, so true, that people felt, how to say this, honored to have waited. It was a bit like she was offering a gift, wrapped in time, where the waiting itself became a setting for something more precious: her authentic and creative presence. And she had realized that this way of being, this fluidity with time, allowed her to navigate transitions with much more gentleness, to respect her natural rhythm, even when the world around seemed to accelerate. And often, when we allow ourselves to trust our natural rhythm, we discover that confidence was always there, waiting for us to give it space. And I was wondering if your unconscious mind could help you find your own perfect timing, your own way of moving through this season, without that constant pressure to conform to others' expectations. And to continue, there was this man who hated this expression: life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. For him, this phrase smelt like resignation, as if we were condemned to blindly accept what life or chance gave us, as if we had no power, no choice in our own destiny. It must be said that one day he had come across this bad chocolate when he was laid off after 10 years of loyal service. The shock, the dismay, that feeling of failure, that voice in his head whispering, "You're not good enough." The weeks of rumination with his wife, that overwhelm that follows unexpected change. everything you can imagine in those moments when life seems so unfair. But here's where it becomes interesting. Instead of staying stuck in that victim position, he did something unexpected. He took a notebook and he began to inventory, not his problems, but his resources. First page, his qualities. Second page, his skills. Third page, possible bridges to other careers. Fourth page, the connections he had woven over the years. Fifth page, the challenges he had already overcome in his life. And there, surprise, he realized he had accumulated an impressive arsenal. Tools he no longer saw because they had become automatic. Competencies he had forgotten. Strengths that had become invisible, simply because they were so natural to him. This layoff had revealed something to him he didn't know. His own resilience. Not the kind we theorize about, but the kind we experience. The kind that gets tested in action. The kind that transforms obstacles into stepping stones. He had understood that this famous box of chocolate, you could also fill it yourself. Choose the ones you put in it. Decide when to open it, and even share certain chocolates with others. You could become the creator of your own assortment, rather than a victim of random selection. And sometimes, it's precisely when we stop seeing ourselves as victims of our circumstances, when we reclaim our power to choose our response, that we discover capabilities we didn't know we had. And perhaps your unconscious mind could help you identify, right now, some of those hidden resources, those inner strengths that are already there, waiting to be acknowledged. And to finish, I'd like to tell you a bit of the story of this little boy who was curious to imagine his future self. When he flipped through his parents' photo album, he discovered his mom as a child. And there, he was surprised to discover that she had lighter and straighter hair. She looked like a tomboy, while today she was so feminine, so confident, so at ease with herself. He asked himself 1,000 questions. How do you change so much? Did she choose to become different? Or did it happen by itself? And if she changed so much, what parts of herself did she keep? So, he questioned her about the child she used to be. Mom, did you already want to be a doctor when you were little? Oh yes, I was already dreaming it when I was fixing my dolls. And look, today I'm a surgeon. But your hair, it was different. Yes, it darkened and curled with age. My body changed, but my dreams, they grew with me. And this little boy was delighted to discover that between the child we were and the adult we become, lots of things can happen. Dreams can come true, and even bigger than expected. We can choose to keep certain things, but also to change, to grow, to transform, to let go of what no longer fits, and embrace what wants to emerge. While he wondered what he was going to become, what he was going to choose to keep, and what he was going to let evolve, he also realized that a part of his future self was already there within him, and he decided to take it with him in all of his adventures. He was going to start creating lots of beautiful memories. And often, when we connect with that wise part of ourselves, that part that already knows we're capable of growing, of adapting, of becoming, we find a different kind of confidence. And perhaps you too could feel that wise part of yourself, ready to guide you through this season with more ease. And from now on, your unconscious mind has carte blanche for your well-being. It can choose to keep what serves you, transform what can be transformed, and put on standby certain programs that no longer serve you now. A bit like interior cleaning, a great autumn sorting. It can reorganize, prioritize, and create new pathways of serenity, new responses to challenges, new ways of honoring your natural rhythm. From now on, this fall season can unfold at a rhythm that respects your well-being. You can give yourself permission to trust your own timing, your own process, your own way of navigating change. You can release any need for perfection. You have all the resources you need, exactly when you need them. Imagine yourself now, in the days to come and the weeks that follow, delighted to notice how much this session has helped you. You feel more peaceful, more tranquil, less stressed. A new lightness accompanies you daily. You handle life's little troubles with more fluidity, flexibility, as if you had found a new way of approaching things, more serene, more confident. You trust your natural rhythm, and others begin to notice this calm presence you carry. In meetings, in conversations, in challenging moments, you even surprise yourself by responding from this centered place. This different energy, calmer, more grounded, radiates around you and also benefits your entourage. You sometimes surprise yourself by smiling at what worried you before, because you feel you have the resources to face, to adapt, no matter what September and the following months bring. In a few moments, my voice will stop, but you can keep within you, anchored deeply, all the benefits of this session. The stories continue to work within you. The messages continue to settle in the days, weeks, and even months to come. Your unconscious mind has everything it needs to continue this transformation, to deepen this serenity, to strengthen this confidence in your natural rhythm. And when you wish, at your own pace, like leaves that move gently in the autumn breeze, you can reunite all parts of yourself and perhaps feel this new vitality that flows within you. And gently, you can reopen your eyes, trusting your own timing.